close your eyes. Imagine you wake up one morning and realize your mind is no longer your own. You scroll through your phone before your eyes even adjust to the light. Your thoughts aren't quiet. They're loud, messy, colliding. You try to remember what peace feels like, but it's like reaching for a dream that's already evaporated. You get out of bed, and before your feet even touch the floor, a flood of thoughts rush in. What if I fail today? Why did I say that yesterday? I should be further by now. You make coffee, but you're not tasting it. You're not here. Your body is. But your mind is running somewhere else, arguing with ghosts, chasing futures that haven't happened yet. You look in the mirror and see someone. Tired, not physically, but mentally worn out. That's the moment. The fracture, when you realize your mind has become a battlefield. And you're not even the one holding the sword. It's fighting itself. And every day, that invisible war keeps draining your life force. But here's the truth. No one tells you you can take back control. Not someday. Not after you've read 10 books or attended some silent retreat. In 30 days. Because 30 days isn't just a number. It's a symbolic cycle. Long enough to reshape the patterns that imprison you. Short enough to keep you focused and intentional. The question is, will you do it? Will you finally master your mind? Or keep letting it master you? Let's begin. Here's what most people never realize. Your mind doesn't belong to you the way you think it does. It's been trained, programmed, conditioned since childhood by teachers, parents, screens, fears, heartbreaks. Every word you've heard, every failure you've endured has left an imprint, and now your thoughts are like a playlist you didn't even make. They repeat, they skip, they loop the same songs of worry, doubt, and self-criticism over and over again. You wake up anxious, not because of what's happening, but because your brain has learned anxiety as a default state. You check your phone, searching for validation, not because you need it, but because your mind equates attention with safety. You overthink conversations, decisions, every little move, because your brain fears uncertainty more than unhappiness. It's a loop, a perfectly designed mental trap, and you don't even realize how deep it goes. You can't sit still for 2 minutes without grabbing your phone. You can't eat without watching something. You can't be alone with your thoughts, because silence now feels like danger. But let me tell you something quietly. That restlessness you feel isn't a flaw. It's a signal. Your mind isn't against you. It's exhausted. It's been protecting you for too long. Overthinking, doubting, worrying, those are its survival tools. Your mind doesn't want to destroy you. It's just trying to keep you safe from pain. But in doing so, it has built a prison, and every thought, and every assumption, every reaction, every fear becomes another brick in the walls of that prison. You might say, I can't control my thoughts, but that's not true. You can. You just never learned how. School taught you how to memorize. Society taught you how to chase. No one taught you how to think. No one sat you down and said, this is how you deal with the storm inside your head. So you grow up building success on shaky foundations. You try to outwork your doubts instead of understanding them. You try to earn peace through achievement instead of awareness. You think if you just do more, get more, prove more, the noise will stop. But it doesn't, because the noise doesn't live outside you. It lives inside, and that's the loop. You fight the mind by feeding it more of what hurts it. Comparison, distraction, control. You try to silence it through busyness, but that's like trying to calm a storm with more wind. Think about this. Have you ever had a moment where everything seemed fine, yet your mind still found something to worry about? You finally get that promotion, that message, that break, and within seconds, your brain goes, okay, but what if it doesn't last? It's never satisfied, because it doesn't know how to rest. And so, people live decades like this, not alive, just constantly reacting to people, to situations, to emotions, but never really creating anything from peace, because peace requires one skill we've forgotten: mastery over the mind. Look at history. The greats, the ones who rose above chaos, didn't have perfect lives. They had mastered minds. Marcus Aurelius ruled an empire under constant war, yet he found stillness through philosophy. Michael Jordan turned every failure into focus. Serena Williams, years of pressure, pain, and loss, yet she kept her mind sharp enough to turn fear into fire. These aren't accidents. They are examples of what happens when the mind becomes your servant, not your master. But let's be honest. Most people never get there, not because it's impossible, but because they never decide to. They keep saying, I'll work on my mindset someday, as if clarity comes with time. But time doesn't heal the mind. Intention does. Practice does. Awareness does. That's why 30 days matter, because if you give yourself 30 days of conscious focus, you can rewire habits that took decades to form. The human brain is plastic. It changes with repetition and emotion. In 30 days, you can either reprogram it or reinforce the same pain. So let me ask you something. If you had the chance to master your mind in 30 days, to stop the loops, to stop reacting, to finally feel peace, would you take it? Or would you let another 30 days pass in autopilot? Because the truth is, 30 days will pass anyway. The question is, who will you be when they do? Here's the shift that changes everything. You don't need to fix your mind. You need to befriend it. Let that sink in. You've been fighting your thoughts for so long, trying to stop them, ignore them, suppress them, but your mind doesn't need an enemy. It needs a leader, someone calm enough to guide it back when it drifts, someone wise enough to listen before reacting, someone patient enough to retrain it day by day. You can't master your mind through war. You master it through relationship. Think about it like this. If your mind were a person, how would you treat them? Would you yell at them for being scared? Would you shame them for being anxious? Would you ignore them when they cried? No. You'd comfort them. You'd listen. You'd teach them gently until they learned what peace feels like. That's what mastery is. It's not control. It's connection. You don't dominate the mind. You educate it. You don't suppress emotion. You translate it. Every thought, even the dark ones, are messages, signals from your subconscious saying, please, understand me. When you feel anxiety, it's not your mind attacking you. It's your body whispering, I'm scared of the unknown. When you feel anger, it's not toxicity, it's protection. When you feel sadness, it's not weakness, it's release. So imagine what would happen if for 30 days you stopped judging your mind and started listening to it instead. If for 30 days you observed your thoughts like a scientist instead of a soldier. That's the beginning of mastery. Awareness, not reaction, not avoidance. Awareness. Because you can't change what you refuse to see, and you can't see clearly while fighting the storm. This is where it begins. A single commitment. For the next 30 days, I will not fight my thoughts. I will watch them. I will question them. And I will guide them. That's it. That's how you start mastering your mind. You see, most people think change is dramatic. They think they need to burn everything down and rebuild. But real change, the kind that lasts, is quiet. It's subtle. It's a series of micro shifts that accumulate into transformation. And here's the secret. Most people never discover. If you change how you think for 30 days, you change how you live forever. You don't need a new life. You need a new way of thinking about your life. And that begins with the smallest daily moments. The way you wake up, the way you react, the way you speak to yourself. Because mastering your mind isn't about becoming a monk. It's about becoming the calm center in the middle of your own chaos. And that's what you're going to learn next. How to train your thoughts, how to reset your emotions, how to build discipline from peace, not pressure. Over the next 30 days, your mission will be simple. Reclaim your mental space, redefine your focus, rebuild your inner strength. You're about to see that mastering your mind isn't some distant goal. It's a daily practice. And every day, you'll get better, calmer, wiser, more free. Because once you master your mind, you master your life. The journey begins here, not in some faraway place, not in silence or retreat, but right here in your daily life, where thoughts rush, deadlines press, and emotions twist like waves. Because that's where real mastery happens. Not when it's calm, but when the storm hits and you learn to breathe through it. So let's begin the climb. 30 days to take back your mind. Day 1 to 10. Awareness. Day 11 to 20. Discipline. Day 21 to 30. Transformation. But don't think of them as checkboxes. Think of them as stages of awakening, each one revealing a deeper layer of you. Stage 1. Awareness. The first 10 days are about seeing clearly. You'll start noticing how often your mind runs on autopilot, the way it reacts to messages, the way it flinches at silence, the way it searches for problems, even when everything's fine. At first, this awareness will sting. You'll realize how much of your day is driven, not by choice, but by habit. How often you scroll to escape yourself. How easily you say yes when you mean no. How your inner dialogue can sound like an enemy rather than a friend. But that sting, that discomfort, is proof that you're finally waking up. Michael Jordan once said, "The game is won in the mind long before it's won on the court." That's not just about basketball. It's about life. He didn't wait for motivation to arrive. He created it by mastering his inner world, by noticing every flicker of doubt and turning it into fire. You can do the same. When a negative thought appears, don't wrestle it. Observe it. Imagine you're standing by a river and every thought is a leaf floating by. You don't chase it. You just watch it pass. That's awareness, and it's your first victory. Stage 2. Discipline. Once you begin to notice your thoughts, you'll realize how powerful they are and how quickly they can drift. That's when you start training them, not through punishment, but through consistency. Each day, choose one small practice, one act of mental alignment. Maybe it's 5 minutes of silence in the morning before you let the world touch your attention. Maybe it's journaling every night, not about what happened, but about what your mind told you during the day. Or maybe it's catching yourself when you say, "I can't," and replacing it with, "I'm learning to." Discipline isn't about rigidity. It's about remembering who's in charge. It's you, not your emotions, not your impulses. Serena Williams once said, "Every time I thought I couldn't, I did." That's not arrogance. It's discipline. Because the moment you refuse to be ruled by emotion, you begin to master reality itself. And something magical happens around day 20. You start seeing yourself differently. The fog begins to lift. You stop reacting so quickly. The noise doesn't vanish, but it no longer decides who you are. You begin to feel a subtle power rising within you, not the loud kind, but the quiet certainty of someone who finally knows where they stand. That's transformation beginning to bloom. Stage 3. Transformation. By the last 10 days, you start noticing small miracles. You speak more slowly, but with intention. You breathe before answering. You stop chasing validation. You start choosing peace over ego, and people around you notice. They might not say it, but they feel it. You're calmer, more grounded, unshakable. Not because life got easier, but because your mind got stronger. You see, transformation doesn't mean you never feel fear again. It means fear loses its grip. It means you can look it in the eye and say, I see you, but you don't rule me anymore. This is mastery. It's not fireworks. It's not a sudden revelation. It's quiet repetition, done with love. It's the ability to be fully present in a moment. Most people run from. When you master your mind, you stop searching for calm. You become calm. But there's always one last test before true mastery settles in, and it always comes when you least expect it. There will be a day, maybe around day 25, when you wake up, and it will feel like all your progress is gone. You'll feel heavy, irritable, restless. Again, the thoughts will come back stronger, louder, like they're mocking you. You'll wonder if anything you've done even worked. That's the mind's final defense. It's not failure, it's resistance. Your old patterns sense their death, and like any dying thing, they fight to survive. You'll hear the voice again, the one that whispers, see, you'll never change. It's the same voice that kept you small for years, but this time you won't fight it. You'll smile, because you'll recognize it for what it is. A ghost, a shadow of who you used to be. This is the storm before clarity, and like all storms, it will pass if you just stay still. Close your eyes, breathe, feel your heart beat. Let the thoughts swirl without identifying with any of them. Tell yourself quietly, I am the sky. My thoughts are the weather, and the storm will fade, because weather always changes, but the sky, the real you, remains untouched. When you master your mind, you no longer measure progress by how calm you feel, but by how calmly you handle the chaos. That's the moment the shift becomes permanent. You realize peace was never the absence of noise. It was the ability to stay centered within it. And that's when mastery takes root. When you understand that every dark thought is just another chance to practice light. 30 days later, something subtle but powerful has changed. You wake up, and instead of reaching for your phone, you breathe. First, you sit for a second and feel your presence, this space between you and your thoughts. Now, you hear them, but they no longer control you. That space, that pause, that's freedom. You walk through the same world, but you move differently. You see differently. You respond differently. When someone provokes you, you don't react. You observe when uncertainty rises. You don't panic. You breathe. When your mind tries to spiral, you smile and say, not today. You've become the calm in your own storm. That's what mastering your mind really means. Not becoming unbreakable, but becoming unshakable. It's not about erasing emotion. It's about holding it with grace. It's not about perfection. It's about presence. And that's what most people miss. They think peace comes after achievement, after success, after control. But peace is not a reward. It's a skill, one that must be practiced every day until it becomes who you are. From this point on, you don't need to chase happiness. You create it. You don't need to wait for motivation. You generate it. You don't need to control life. You learn to dance with it, because when the mind obeys the heart, you become limitless. You'll notice that problems still exist, but you meet them with patience. People still disappoint you, but you forgive faster. You still fail, but you rise wiser. And each time you do, you reinforce the truth that the strongest mind is the one that bends, but never breaks. So yes, you've done it. You've mastered your mind, not perfectly, but genuinely, and that's all mastery ever was. The courage to meet yourself every day, and the grace to keep going, even when it's hard. If you stay on this path, the next 30 days will deepen it. The next 90 will solidify it. And within a year, you won't even recognize the person you used to be, not because you changed what you have, but because you changed how you see, and that changes everything. So remember this: the mind is not your enemy, it's your instrument, and when you learn to play it well, it becomes music. You don't need a perfect life to feel peace. You just need a mastered mind. 30 days is all it takes to remember who you truly are, the awareness behind every thought, the calm beneath every storm, the sky that holds all weather and never breaks. So begin again every day, and each morning whisper to yourself, I am not my thoughts, I am the one who watches them. Because once you master your mind, you master your world, and the world needs more calm souls like you. Now, go. The next 30 days are waiting.